Tonight, while you are asleep, your brain will build an entire universe. You will see people who are not there. You will visit places that do not exist. You will feel fear, joy, love, panic, even though your body never moves. And by morning, most of it will be gone. Why would your brain do this every single night? Think about how strange this actually is. For roughly 2 hours of every night, your brain constructs a fully rendered, emotionally convincing, sensorially rich alternate reality and then deletes almost all of it before breakfast. No other regular biological process works this way. Your heart does not spend 2 hours a night simulating a different heartbeat. Your liver does not rehearse an imaginary version of digestion. But your brain, every single night, without fail, builds a world from scratch, populates it with characters, drops you into the middle of a plot, and lets you live it. What could possibly justify that kind of biological expense? The real answer is far stranger than random noise, and it starts with what your brain is actually doing while your body lies perfectly still. Dreaming happens most vividly during a stage of sleep called REM, short for rapid eye movement, named for the way your eyes dart back and forth beneath closed lids while everything else stays motionless. During REM sleep, your brain is not resting. It is almost as electrically active as when you are wide awake. Brain scans from sleep researchers show regions like the visual cortex and the amygdala lighting up with intense activity, generating images, sounds, and raw emotion. Meanwhile, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for logic, planning, and telling you when something does not make sense, goes remarkably quiet. That single detail explains almost everything strange about dreams. Your emotional and sensory machinery is running at full power, while the part of you that would normally say, "Wait, this is impossible," has essentially clocked out for the night. That is why you can be chased by a creature that does not exist in a house you have never lived in and never once stop to think how odd that is. There is no internal fact checker on duty. The dream feels completely real because the part of your brain that would question it has gone offline. But feeling real is not the same as being pointless. And this is where the story gets genuinely interesting. A Finnish cognitive scientist named Antti Revonsuo proposed an idea in the late 1990s called threat simulation theory, and it reframes dreaming entirely. His argument is that dreaming evolved as a kind of ancient flight simulator, a safe space where your brain rehearses dangerous scenarios without any real-world risk. Revonsuo and later researchers analyzed thousands of recorded dreams and found something striking. A disproportionate number of dreams involve threats, being chased, falling, confronted, attacked. Why would a supposedly random neural process consistently generate the same category of danger over and over across cultures and centuries? Under threat simulation theory, it is not random at all. Your ancestors who dreamed of predators, of confrontation, of losing their footing on unstable ground, were quietly practicing survival responses while sleeping in complete safety. A brain that had rehearsed fleeing a threat 1,000 times in a dream may have reacted just a fraction of a second faster when a real predator appeared at dusk. In evolutionary terms, a fraction of a second is often the entire difference between surviving and not. That alone would be a fascinating enough answer. But threat rehearsal is only one piece of what your sleeping brain is doing each night. There is a second major function happening simultaneously, and it involves your memories. Robert Stickgold, a sleep researcher at Harvard Medical School, has spent decades studying what your brain does with the day's experiences while you sleep. His research, along with work from other memory scientists, points to sleep, and REM sleep specifically, as a critical period for memory consolidation. That is a technical term for something fairly intuitive. Your brain takes the raw, unsorted experiences from your waking day and decides what to keep, what to strengthen, and what to quietly let fade. Studies have shown that people who sleep after learning a new skill, whether it is a physical task or a mental one, perform measurably better on that skill the next day compared to people who stayed awake the same number of hours. Something during sleep is actively reinforcing the neural pathways tied to what you just learned. Some researchers believe dreams themselves are a kind of visible side effect of this sorting process. Fragments of memory being pulled apart, recombined, and tested against emotional significance, which is part of why yesterday's stressful meeting might resurface in your dream wearing the face of someone from your childhood. The content feels bizarre because the brain is not replaying a memory. It is reorganizing one. This reorganizing seems to serve another purpose too, one that goes beyond simple filing. Matthew Walker, a neuroscientist at the University of California, Berkeley, has argued that REM sleep functions as a kind of overnight therapy session. During REM sleep, your brain reactivates emotional memories from the day, but it does so in an unusual chemical environment, one notably low in norepinephrine, a stress-related chemical that is normally present when you experience something emotionally intense while awake. Walker's research suggests this creates a rare opportunity. Your brain can revisit an upsetting memory and strip away some of its emotional sting without the chemical stress response that originally came attached to it. Essentially, you get to relive the memory's content while losing some of its emotional charge. Over time, this may be part of why painful memories tend to soften with distance, and why people who are deprived of REM sleep often show heightened emotional reactivity the next day, as if that overnight processing simply never got the chance to happen. There is a third function worth mentioning, one that sounds almost too good to be true until you look at the historical record. Dreams appear to play a genuine role in creativity and problem solving. Deirdre Barrett, a psychologist at Harvard who has studied this extensively, has documented remarkable cases of people solving waking problems inside their dreams. The chemist Dmitry Mendeleev famously claimed he saw the complete structure of the periodic table arranged in a dream after struggling with the problem for weeks while awake. The inventor Elias Howe reportedly solved a critical design flaw in the sewing machine after dreaming of spearmen whose spears had holes near the tip. Whether every detail of these stories is perfectly accurate or slightly embellished by history, the underlying mechanism they point to is real and testable. During REM sleep, your brain forms unusual, loosely associated connections between concepts that your logical, filtering, wide-awake mind would normally keep separate. With the prefrontal cortex quieted down, distant ideas get to collide freely. Sometimes that collision produces nonsense. Sometimes, apparently, it produces the periodic table. So if dreams are doing all of this, rehearsing threats, consolidating memory, regulating emotion, sparking creative insight, why can you barely remember any of it by the time you are brushing your teeth? This is the counterintuitive twist sitting right in the middle of the whole system. The same low norepinephrine environment that makes emotional processing possible also makes memory formation about the dream itself extremely difficult. Forming a lasting memory typically requires exactly the kind of chemical signaling that REM sleep is deliberately suppressing. There is also a structural piece to this. The connection between your hippocampus, which is critical for forming new memories, and your prefrontal cortex, which helps stabilize and store them, is notably reduced during REM sleep. Your brain, in other words, may be running these nightly simulations specifically in a mode optimized for processing, not for remembering the process itself. You are not failing to notice your dreams. Your brain built this system almost on purpose to let the experience do its work and then dissolve. Now, a fair question. Is any of this uniquely human? The evidence says clearly no. In 2001, a neuroscientist named Matthew Wilson at MIT recorded the brain activity of rats while they ran a maze, then recorded their brain activity again while they slept. The pattern of neural firing during sleep matched the pattern from running the maze so closely that researchers could tell, just from the sleeping rat's brain activity, which part of the maze it was dreaming about, and in some cases, whether it was running or standing still in that dream. If a rat can replay a maze in its sleep with that level of fidelity, dreaming is not some late evolutionary luxury exclusive to humans with big brains and idle time. It looks like a deep, ancient feature of how mammalian brains process experience, one that predates human consciousness by a very long stretch of evolutionary time. Which brings this back to you, tonight, lying in bed. The threats your ancestors rehearsed in their dreams were saber-toothed cats and unstable cliff edges. Your brain still runs the same ancient threat simulation software, but now it is often pointed at an exam you have not studied for, a public speech you have not prepared, or a boss you are afraid of disappointing. The mechanism has not changed in tens of thousands of years. Only the content has updated to match whatever your waking mind spent the day worrying about. Every anxious dream you have ever had was your ancient nervous system doing exactly what it evolved to do, quietly rehearsing a threat, using the only footage available to it, which is the footage from your own life. There is still a real mystery sitting underneath all of this, and honest scientists will tell you so. No single theory fully explains why dreams take the specific bizarre shape they do on any given night, why a childhood classroom merges seamlessly with your current workplace, why a person you have never met can feel instantly, unmistakably familiar. Threat simulation, memory consolidation, and emotional regulation. Each explain a piece of the picture, but the full wiring diagram connecting all of it together remains one of the most active open questions in neuroscience today. So tonight, when you fall asleep, your brain will build another universe. It will pull threats from your worries, memories from your day, and connections your waking mind would never allow itself to make. It will run you through simulations you will not remember choosing and will barely remember at all by morning. And somewhere in that vanishing world, quietly, invisibly, it will be doing exactly what it was built to do, keeping you a little safer, a little steadier, and a little more prepared for whatever is waiting for you when you finally open your eyes.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button right up there and check out this awesome video too.